3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here is today's comic. Nightwing number 60 by Jurgens Mooneyham. It's a funny name, Mooneyham. Revenge runs hot. Oh no, it's the Nightwings and they're in trouble. And my leg is drawn totally fucking weird. All right. Chris Mooneyham can draw. I kind of liked what he was doing in the last comic I did a review on. Sergeant Bats showed me some older Nightwing issues that Mooneyham did where his art was even better. I'm not sure what's going on with this guy. Is it purposely sloppy? This doesn't look bad. Anyways, City Ablaze Part 2. This is the second issue of Dan Jurgens' takeover of Nightwing. I was actually educated by Sergeant Bats, who is a real Nightwing fan. I am just a pretender. No, I'm just a new person coming on to Nightwing. So my perspective is that of someone who is not a longtime Nightwing fan. And comics need to approach both types of fans equally, in my opinion. You know, they need to respect the longtime fans that have been supporting the title for years and potentially decades. But they also need to appeal to new fans. Someone who picks up the book today needs to be able to like the book. And I think sort of the problem that we have, it's actually been a long time problem in the comic industry as far as the fandom goes, is old school fans not respecting the new school fans. The Simpsons has, if you've seen The Simpsons, I'm sure everyone's seen The Simpsons has the character, the comic book nerd guy. I forget what his actual real thing is. Anyways, he's always making fun of comic book fans, which Matt Groening understands very well. He broke into everything through comics. So that being said, that's kind of a parody, if you will, of how comic fans can get. We can get real jaded. We can get real elitist in a way and be like, it's just not my comic and these new kids today don't appreciate. So all I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to bring a perspective here of someone who's new to the comic, not necessarily new to comics, but I don't know Nightwing. So if you are an old school fan, you may not relate to my perspective, but hopefully it has something to offer. I understand that old school fans don't like all this bullet to the head shit and Rick Grayson. It sucks. I repeat myself a lot on this. I can relate when I was young, and I remember when they gave Wolverine bone claws. Surprise! Wolverine's claws are made of bone that used to be thin razor blades, but we're giving this revelation that it was actually just adamantium covered bone. What? It was the dumbest thing. To this day, I cringe when I think about how stupid and idiotic it was. But that's comics. They do things. They try new things. And to someone in the room, when it was pitched, it sounded good. Right? I hated it. But there were fans who liked it. I remember people telling me and getting arguments over it. And you're stupid. You like bone claws? You don't understand comics. No, shut up. We'd fight, and that's kind of how it goes. I'm of the person. This is kind of Wolverine's bone claws. This is the way I relate to it. But yet I'm the guy not saying it's stupid. So all I'm trying to say, long story, I'm so long-winded all the time, so apologize, is I understand if you are one of those people that are like, F this story. So we left off the story where there's a big fire monster, and the Nightwings are approaching it. It's interesting how this is right. I'm really liking how Dan Jurgens is tackling this. He's doing it as a very street level type of story. These characters, the Nightwings, they're just normal Joes. They're not even Robin trained, trained by Batman type people. These are just, I'm a cop. There was a point in the comic where they mentioned this guy, the leader, Alphonse Sapienza, Sap. Highly decorated Bloodhaven police detective veteran. 38, maybe even 40. Leader of the group that's replacing me, one of the Nightwings. So basically, here's a comic book selling us on a guy who's middle-aged, and he's just a cop, but filling in the shoes of a superhero. It's an extremely hard sell. Extremely hard sell. Not just anyone can just put on tights and be a superhero. So this book works for me, however, and I'll try to explain why. Or as I've tagged him, Nightwing Prime. No. That doesn't work for me. Careful with the fire creature. Touch him and you'll burn. You're saying that thing's alive? Not sure if alive is the right word, but it seems to be acting with intent. Still have to find a way to fight. Another member of the group, Malcolm Hutch, Nightwing Red. Nightwing Red. Nightwing Prime. Was Red Wing taken? Was it taken? I don't know. Maybe it is. DC's got 1 billion characters. It would not surprise me at all if there's a DC character named Red Wing. But if it's not taken, that seems like the obvious choice. Nightwing Prime seems like obvious choice. Maybe might be like Alpha Wing, because he's the alpha. Instantly, as I was reading this and I with these names, I was like, he's Nightwing. These are not Nightwings, but they are the Nightwings. So if you get Alpha Wing, Red Wing, whatever the wing, he's actual Nightwing. And I can kind of foresee this story going one of two ways, right? I can foresee this story going where it transitions to a team book with Dick Grayson. I'm going to say it again, Dick. Yes, I like to say Dick. Dick Grayson leading this team and transitioning into a new style book. Still get the character we love, right? Anyone who says, "Oh, but Dick Grayson shouldn't be part of a team." What the fuck? Teen Titans? Like, he's been a team guy forever. That would be interesting to me, a new comic viewer. I don't know if it's interested to you old timers. I can see that going that. I could see another way of these guys being trained kind of by him and then him going his own way. And these be the Nightwings in honor of his name, and Dick Grayson evolving to a third stage. Robin being the first stage, Nightwing being the second stage, and then whatever into something new. I would be down for either one. The more I think about it, the latter sounds more interesting to me. And just having these four, well, the other two aren't here, but the four guys being like a street level little vigilante squad. Because while I do not buy them as superheroes, I do buy them as vigilantes tackling street level bad guys. That could work. But you start throwing it in to DC hero level with Nightwing and they start facing actual super threats, it doesn't work. That's why I said that I think the second one works a little bit better for me. And then you could have, I don't think they would necessarily deserve their own book, but they could like cross over a lot. I don't know. Those are just some ideas that came to me as I was reading the book. So they're fighting a big fire thing, and there's a lot of good just narration. I think Jurgens is trying to catch readers up to speed. I think Jurgens is smart, knowing that a lot of people are going to pick this book up based on him jumping on the book. It's a jumping on point, so they may not have read what's up to this point. So it might be a little corny, but I can't call them all Nightwing. Good point. I mean, not for long. Just as fire can grow on its own, the creature regenerates. And they're talking, most cops Sap's age are thinking about retirement. What could compel him to play Nightwing? And then they're doing the fight. So the whole thing really of this fight with this fire monster is just to sort of have some excitement going on while the writer is starting to explain the characters, their motivations, and trying to get that done. And it's a good comic technique, right? When you want to talk about the characters and who they are and what their history, whatever, do it not while they're sitting over a cup of coffee or eating some food like modern comics. Do it in the middle of a battle. So at least you've got cool art and cool, exciting panels to look at. while you're getting this mediocre story. It's a very veteran way to do things, and Jurgens is a longtime veteran of comics. I really enjoyed what this book was doing from the fact that I recognize it has to do this, right? I can see some other fans just going, I'm just tired of these Nightwing things. I'm tired of the Rick Grayson story. I sympathize, but I believe, this is just a belief, that Jurgens is trying to get the train back on the rails. It's just going to be, we have to be patient. I believe it's going to take at least just a story arc to get things going in order to sell it. If you just like had one issue, boom, it would be very difficult to do. And that's what I kind of see this book doing even more than the last one. Whenever you see these blue boxes, this is Sapienza, his narration. Should have known Hutch would come through. He always does. The cabbie, which is Rick Grayson, full of surprises. He has what it takes, no question. The skills, the instincts, the determination, the whole package. But I never liked partners that came with question marks. This kid is loaded with unknowns. And then they're helping the fire department. And that's what this is all kind of about, is Sapienza leads this team. He's asked for Dick Grayson's help, but he still doesn't really trust him. And it also further explores some of their backstory. The guy that trained Hutch, that got him killed, was also Sapienza's mentor. He's like a really old veteran. That's how these two know each other. And that's where this story kind of goes in the second half. Before we get there, we get to see some new love interest. And I don't like this B character. I find her very uninteresting. I find her very annoying. And I just don't see her adding to the story. Dick Grayson's got a lot of shit going on in his life. Not just as a real, if you think of him as a real person, but just as a comic character. There's a lot of things to sort out with who he's going to become, what kind of hero. Why do I, as a reader, want to buy this book? This is shit that I don't care about. So, whatever. So we get more Sapienza, and I'm starting to see this character becoming like a main character. I mean, he's being treated with his own monologue. He's got the Nightwing symbol. A lot of the inner monologue, he's being treated like the main character, not Dick Grayson. That could piss off some Nightwing fans. I can kind of understand that. The Nightwing fans will go, he's not the Nightwing. That's, Dick's the Nightwing. I get that, but I'm just letting the story go where it goes. I'm letting the author take me on a ride, and I'll judge when the ride's over how much I like it. Now, this is a woman that lost her father, the police detective. She still blames Hutch. She blames the police department. She's real angry. And this whole time, we get Sapienza acting kind of like Batman. It's basically a poor man's Batman here. Police detective. He's studying the case, working it out like a detective. And he talks about, she's the only suspect we have. He doesn't believe that she's a metahuman, but he's like, I don't know what else to think. Where else do we go? So he sends the other two Nightwings, who are also police detectives, to confront her. And there's some really cool dialogue that I thought worked really well about, the approach. And it sounds like two detectives would talk to a suspect. Someone's searching precinct houses. Word is that as far as you're concerned, the entire department can burn in hell. So that makes me guilty in your eyes? You have to admit the timing doesn't exactly look good. So I said it, out of anger because the force is responsible for my father being kept alive by machines. He was on the verge of retirement. He should be enjoying life, doting on his grandchildren. Your grudge is understandable. The question is, what are you doing about it? And then the fire starts coming. Get back, what the hell? And then the lights, the monster's coming. How is she doing this? Me? Are you crazy? Zach, the flames, they reach the gas, and then boom! So we get another second fight scene. and they're confronting the monster shows up, and she's like, my God, please don't hurt me. So now we as the reader know she's not tied with the fire monster because we get an honest look at the character. Hurt you? No. Help you. Next, burned. So all in all, not a lot happens in the greater scheme of the story, but when you read it, you get a lot of the background monologue, inner monologue of these characters and who they are and what drives them, and that is interesting because we still don't know much about these people. So it's a good mix of this mystery of who the hell this fire monster is and what they're doing versus learning more about these characters, which is always important. You want to care about these characters. You want to know who they are. You have to have a reason for wanting to read about them. And I believe that's what Jurgens is trying to juggle right now. Mostly it's these two. But these, you can flesh them out in time. The key is how are we going to get Dick Grayson back on track for Nightwing fans? Is he gonna retake the mantle of Nightwing along with these four, and maybe the book will just be called Nightwings, which I would be down for. There's no reason that other characters can't exist alongside him. Or is he going to evolve and walk away from the Nightwing mantle and take a new mantle, which I'd also be down for. So really what matters is it done well. So far, Jurgens, I think, is handling the mess that he's been given quite well. This is not an optimal task to be handed. Here, we fucked up Nightwing, make some good comics. And Jurgens has kept me interested. This book was better than the last one, which shows me progress. When I was done with it, I was like, you know what? I want to know who is this monster? I don't think it's that girl now. What's going on? What's going to happen with these four? We've been introduced to these characters, but are they going to matter at all? Like, are they all going to die? And then it's going to cause Dick Grayson to feel bad for their death, and then he'll reestablish. I mean, something's going to happen, and I want to know what it is. And that's, if not good storytelling, it's decent storytelling. It's keeping me interested, and the way that it's written, Jurgens knows what he's doing. It's like I said, it's old school, veteran, professional writing. He's got the skills. Mooneyham's art is going to be up to you whether you like it. This book, these two books that we've read are more sloppier than some of his past work, but I've actually really enjoyed it. I kind of like over-stylized art like this. I'm a Kevin Eastman fan. I don't need my illustrations to be perfect. I can handle wonky proportions and things like that. It's really just about a lot of the composition and the aesthetic appeal. So I'm actually enjoying this. I think it fits the book, the gritty, sloppy aesthetics of the art fit the street level feel. So that's my opinions on the book. This was a longer video than I intended. You tell me what you think below. This one gets a cautious thumbs up based on the reasons I said, and I'll stay tuned. I'm gonna get the next one. I'm so far I'm still sold. Thanks for watching. It's time for another Jail 8 webcomic, number 31 by Yale Stewart. Just get it over with, Barry. Ooh. The paper called you little kids because it looks like you're wearing diapers. Does not. Oh man, did Diana hear that? Ha 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 ha. It kind of does, said the green nightlight. Oh.